do I have my leaving cert in less than a week as I'm writing this script? Yes. Do I care? Not really. So, Persona 5 is a game, I hope you're aware of this fact, and this game came out in 2017, or as I prefer to call it, my Now, I never owned anything with the words play or station in them, and I still don't because this price tag is dumber than Ryuji during exam season, so I never really got a chance to experience vanilla Persona 5. I was also 3 bodies deep into an Overwatch addiction that would last for nearly 4 years, so my previously Minecraft and Nintendo-only gamer brain didn't really have the ability to comprehend another game series. But come October 2022, when Persona 5 Royal was released for PC, I bought it for myself later that year, and god damn, I just need to talk about it. I think most people watching this are going to be Persona fans, because let's be real, this game is from 2017, it was extremely popular, and honestly still kind of is, and Royal releasing on other platforms last year was huge for it, so most people don't really need a proper review, and I don't think I'm qualified to give one of those to begin with, so it'll work out. I'll only use gameplay from early sections of the game just to avoid as many spoilers as possible, and I'll leave timestamp if you really need to avoid spoilers from a game that's nearly 6 years old. So the order I'm going to talk about this will be as follows, so you can skip to the timestamps on screen if you want to hear about any specific thing. Also keep in mind the footage you'll be seeing is from me and my friends doing a multiplayer run, where essentially each person pilots one character, so if something looks dumb, that's why.
Nice! The will seed is ours!
Does that mean there's a won't seed? I cannot blame any of you for the silence. I fully just
Wait, what?
Now, our first order of business is gameplay, and I'm sure you all know that Persona is split into basically 2 games. A much less frustrating Shin Megami Tensei JRPG, and a life simulator. Starting off with the JRPG elements, though, I've got a lot to say, so strap yourselves in. If you're anything like me, the only JRPG you were ever familiar with was Pokemon, and let's be real, that doesn't really have the most thrilling combat. My poor A button on my Switch has nightmares from when I was playing Pokemon Sword. So with Persona being my first entrance into non-button mashing turn-based combat, which was never my favourite thing in the world, I was surprised with how much I enjoyed it. As I'm sure you all know, Atlas JRPGs use something called the turn press system, or as I prefer to call it, fuck you. If you hit an enemy with an If you hit an enemy with an element that is weak to, or if you land a crit, you'll knock them down and gain an extra turn. Simple. This is a standard in SMT games, but every game has its own version of it, and Persona 5 is no different. P5 makes use of the baton pass, giving you a choice of either using your second turn or passing it on to someone to power them up. Some of my favourite boss fights make full use of the baton pass chaining, and the satisfaction of passing the baton to every member of your team is something you kind of need to play with to understand, which is not something you want to say in a review, but I don't really care. Press turn and baton pass systems make you think a lot more about encounters and boss fights, which I personally found way more fun than I expected, and is a great way to make turn-based combat, which is often called boring and interactive, a lot more engaging and makes battles require a decent amount of strategy, even if you're playing on easier difficulties or just in a regular encounter. Now, I can't talk about knocking enemies down without mentioning the pure style that is the all-out attacks. It's real simple, knock everyone down, get a special attack that costs nothing. A detail I also like is that depending on who knocked down the final enemy, the last screen that you get will have some banger art for that character, so yeah, in general, combat's pretty fun. So now I do want to touch on how I always try to sell Personas to recovering Pokemon fans, and that's with the name of the game. You can recruit and fuse Personas, which could be very fun, or very, extremely annoying. Yeah, we're killing you, Kami. You're in one of them, we don't know which one.
Die!
Oh. No.
Wait, what?
Fuck!
What?
Oh no!
Oh
Please, God, fuck up well. Please fuck up well. Fuck!
no! What the hell is that?
It gave us a fucking onion!
Gave us an onion fetus!
What?
I just wanted to make a little guy and instead it gave me a fucking onion. In short, the fusion system is super fun, allowing you to mix different moves and passives onto personas, so if you're the type of person who loves to min-max based on the little creatures that you can get, so you're really gonna get a lot of mileage out of it. But if you're like me and just like making funny little guys so you don't get brutally murdered, it's still pretty simple. Now that's most of the unique combat gameplay aspects covered, and I don't really want to be summarizing things, so it's time to move on to the next section, which is dungeon crawling. Though some would argue it isn't really dungeon crawling, and considering the main dungeons of the game are palaces that they're actually called. Anyway, palaces are big story pieces that house your main villain for that portion of the story. They'll have different puzzles, some fun, some unbelievably infuriating. And to keep this part short, all you need to know is that this game adopts the modern take on random encounters, which is removing them entirely. I was finally free from the goddamn Zubas Yailis Anyway, random encounters are a thing of the past, and instead of being replaced by ambushing or being ambushed by enemies. Simply sneak up to an enemy, strike while they're unaware of your presence, and you get the first turn of combat to yourself. Alternatively, you could get caught out by an enemy and you get ambushed and surrounded, losing your first turn. It isn't the most in-depth system out there, but it definitely is a heart attack inducing when you get spotted on low health. No, go away.
Okay.
Moving into the actual combat now, it's pretty standard for a turn-based RPG. Choose from a variety of attacks, such as gun, or attack, or rip the mask off your face, spraying blood everywhere. I mean, look, while we're here reviewing our different methods of murder, so just take a second to gawk at the most beautiful UI I've ever seen in my life. This thing is amazing, and it speeds up combat so much, because you don't need to go rummaging through different menus to find whatever it is you're looking for. You just hit the button, and it works really well. I mean, it's obvious your UI is amazing when people cosplay it. Now, the final thing I want to mention is the really fun and clever use of status effects. So this is going to be an actual opinion instead of me just summarizing. Yippee. Another element, pun intended, to the combat system that I actually really enjoyed. Hit an enemy with a certain status effect and certain types of attacks can hit for technical damage, which is great when you have no moves that can hit an enemy, or if you're a psychopath doing a gun-only challenge. You can check out this guy's video here, it's insane. Overall, the actual combat is great, and made me fall in love with turn-based systems, which I didn't think would actually happen, but it does prove that Nintendo fans can reform, and good god guys, we really need to. Just go play a different JRPG other than Pokemon, trust me. Now the combat system out of the way, it's time for my favourite part of Persona, Life Simulator. Persona operates on a calendar system, or as min-maxers like to call it, a goddamn Bible. Every day operates in sections, from the morning where you go to school to after school where you have free time and select activities, and in the afternoon which has a different set of activities. And how you spend this time affects the rest of the game. Do you want to book it to the gym every day after school to increase your HP and SP so that you turn into a raid boss? Go for it. Want to earn just a piss amount of money? Head to any of the part-time jobs. Let's be real though, the only reason we go to these is for social stats. Or if you're normal, you're going to spend a lot of this free time with your confidence, or social links if you're an OG Persona player. Confidence range from party members to pro shogi players, Call of Duty players, a politician, your homeroom teacher, a goth doctor that I can't say anything else about because unfortunately I do have shame and people living in my house, and an ex-Yakuza member who has my favourite shop theme in the entire game. Spend time with your confidence, become better friends because you don't know how to get any in real life, and you'll gain abilities that can be used in the real world, palaces, or in combat. Which is why I will die on the hill that Hifumi is the best confidant, and no, you cannot change my mind. If you're someone who hates grinding for XP in games, even though it's rarely needed, then Mishima's confident abilities will increase your XP game, and I'm going to be honest, this is going to be the only reason you'll ever have to talk to him. In palaces, you'll get new options as well, such as longer ranged ambushes, or dodging enemies about to ambush you. You'll even get benefits in the real world, such as lower prices in shops. Every confidant in the game except you, fuck you, oh yeah, offers a really wide range of benefits that you can use depending on your playstyle and what benefits you like most. Or you can be like me and my friends, and just do all the confidants who we like the best so that we can watch and see how their stories go. Sue me on top, by the way. Whether you like confidants for their stories, abilities, or assets, I can nearly guarantee that you'll find at least one that you'll love. Obviously there are other activities available, whether it's for further combat benefits such as darts, which lets you power up your baton passes, or pool to power up your technical hits. Not everything revolves around combat. While in palaces you have your regular stats such as strength or magic, but in the real world you have your social stats, knowledge, charm, guts, kindness, and proficiency. These stats act as blocks to different aspects of the game, primarily confidence, which you will need a certain level of social stat before they think you're good or not, like Makoto needing rank 3 knowledge. You have a variety of ways to increase these stats, from studying for your knowledge to how the fuck does this burger fit in anyone, how do you do this, to working part-time jobs like I already mentioned. There's also other benefits, such as my personal favourite being able to dodge your teacher physically abusing you by throwing chalk at lightning speed straight to your forehead. I'm pretty sure this is illegal, but I'm the Overwatch War Crime guy, not the Persona regular crime guy. In general, the big thing to remember is that every activity takes time. You can only hang out with one confidant in the day before you go home, and hang out with different confidants only available in the evening, which plays into one of the main messages of the game, which is to take your time. While for some people this may be a cause of stress, I personally really enjoyed it, and I highly recommend that if you haven't played Persona yet, make sure you go in blind. At the very least, go in without the help of a guide telling you what to do and when to do it. Plan things out yourself. Maybe you simply adore Yusuke and want to see more of his story as soon as you can. Go for it. Spend as much time with him as you want. Do you despise Oya and never want to interact with her? Perfect, you don't have to. Do you not really care about confidence stories? Why are you playing this game? Go play SMT5, it's just around the corner. But you can still go ahead and use the spare time for things like increasing HP and SP amounts or grinding for XP and mementos. The Life Simulator Persona 5 is by far my favourite aspect of the game, and even with my 120 hours clocked into my first 3 playthroughs of this, I'm still yet to experience all of it, which just goes to show the sheer depth available to you. The way the game balances its gameplay is something I love and honestly really need in games like these. I'm the type to blast through a game, especially if I like it. When I got Persona back in December, it was the only thing I played until like February. And it was because the game always balances what you're doing. Just when you're getting bored of combat and palaces, you can go do the life sim and spend time with your confidence, or you can increase your social stats so that you can then spend more time with confidence. You're noticing a bit of a theme here. And even if you get bored of that, but a palace isn't available, then you can head into mementos to scratch that combat itch if you have one. From the school test to managing different bits of time for your favourite confidant, to even going with your gut when you weren't sure which dialogue option was best and you actually get those 3 demonic music notes telling you a good job, it's all just an experience that I really loved, and honestly it's something that the game does best more than any other thing that I've played. That was a long ass gameplay segment, so now it's time for the story. So I will warn you all, spoilers ahead. Although, something I need to say now is this was the first ever majorly story-focused game I ever played. Look man, I played Mario Kart, Minecraft, and Splatoon growing up, and then Overwatch and League of Legends until I played Persona 5, and I had a Ratatouille moment after playing. But I wasn't quite sure going into this if I wanted to summarize, give my thoughts, or just kind of freestyle talk about the story, and I decided, this game is 6 years old. People already know the story, and if you don't, I honestly want you to go and experience it for yourself. So I'm just going to save us all some time and just simply talk about what I thought of it. But please remember, spoiler warning here, because I am going to be talking about what happens. So just keep that in mind. In short, Persona is your typical well-oiled machine when it comes to a story. It's about kids taking charge, going against the society ran by
shitty adults, shitty adults, shitty adults.
But the premise isn't what's important to me. It's literally everything else. While people love to talk about the themes and how the game's message is to take charge and go against the standards set by society, which is great, but I hate analysing stories. I'm sorry lads, but get out of here with your symbolism. Why do you think my English teacher wonders how I get a 90% in creative writing and 50% in literature? I just want to talk about stuff. I do want to say, though, despite what I did just say, which is a weird sentence, but anyway, I love the story of Persona 5 to bits, and I won't call it perfect because I don't have the ability to understand what perfect is, but I still loved it all the same. Now, if you're like me and love yourself some characters and some character stories, then you're really gonna love the confidence that I was mentioning earlier. While the entire game has its story going on the whole time, the little side stories that are happening with your confidence which play into their characters and character arcs is honestly something that you're just really gonna enjoy if you're anything like me. And if you're lonely, into women, and consider yourself a dick, you can also romance pretty much every female confident. And honestly, even though I'm the most bog standard straight white guy, I still dislike how you can't romance any of the male confidents, but that's a separate discussion for a different day. Returning to the main story, I honestly just loved seeing all our characters grow, both with each other and individually as the plot progressed. From Futaba slowly becoming more comfortable with all the phantom teeth as she tries to overcome her trauma and social anxiety, to even seeing how Sojiro gets more friendly towards you and the rest of the phantom thieves, and basically adopting you as his son. But enough of my rambling about the characters. You've already heard enough, because I need to talk about the Persona 5 I played, Persona 5 Royal. Not everything in this game is all sunshine and roses. I didn't want to mention it in the gameplay segment because I didn't want to spoil just to be safe, but also because I didn't think it applied perfectly there, but it definitely comes in story-wise at least. Newly added in Persona 5 Royal was Kazumi Yoshizawa and Dr. Maruki, and Sumi is probably my favorite character in the entire game. Kami, don't you fucking say it. However, I really didn't like how she was included as a party member. At the very beginning of the game, we meet her, where she absolutely styles on some enemies in Sai's Palace. And when you're in Sai's Palace later on, you get the same scene and then she ditches. Standard stuff, we just saw at the beginning. But my personal issue arises here. I really believe that after following Joker into the metaverse, closely watching what him and the rest of the thieves were doing, then jumping in to save his ass from a bunch of shadows, she should have been invited to the party for Shido's Palace, seeing as while he may have nothing against him personally like a majority of the class, mostly due to her very extremely obvious crush on Joker that Atlas wants to be canon so badly it's insane. She would hold at least some resentment against Shido on his behalf, along with the fact that she fucked up those shadows, bro, like goddamn! You can definitely say that she doesn't have much of a reason to fight Shido with someone like Haru, but when you really think about it, Ann really doesn't have the best reason either, but she does it because she's friends with Joker and they're with the rest of the Phantom Thieves. I want to point out as well, it was in the game's files, so it was definitely planned. Sumi has a model and animations at the hideout in Joker's room, and she has a mouse model in Shido's palace. I just personally don't like how she was handled, because I think had she been available a lot earlier, a lot more interesting interactions could have occurred with her and Akechi, along with the fact that I really like her persona. High Physical and Blessed was really fun. I also believe that you would have been able to have her entire Sumire arc in the third semester just fine. Nothing would have needed to change. But alas, this never happened, so all I can do is cope. Now, I still really did love the third semester. I love Dr. Maruki, and I think the ending that you achieve through the third semester is much better and more complete than the ending you achieve in Vanilla Persona 5. In my first playthrough, I actually got to the Vanilla ending and was just really confused. Well, it did obviously hit me right in the feels, something just kind of felt off. Ignoring the lack of royal characters that were there, obviously, it still just seemed a little bit wrong. But I can't really place my finger on why, so I am sorry for that. But the royal ending is honestly so amazing in my opinion, except for how it handles Sumi. Please Atlas, stop doing her so dirty. But Maruki's conclusion is honestly something that hit me way harder than it should, and I loved it. I also want to mention that while I am still on the topic of the ending, I'm still salty that you can't meet Sumi on the very last day. It makes no sense, especially if you get her to rank 10. You'd think someone who you helped get over their trauma and accept who they are and their current situation, that they'd be there to say goodbye to you on your final day, but oh well. Hashtag justice for Sumi. Finally, the last thing that I want to talk about is this game's music, because good lord, it goes so unbelievably hard. From the iconic ambush theme that you'll never see coming, I'm sorry I had to the relaxing jazz that will play in your free time, it really only hits high notes, again pun intended. If you want me to keep it short, I rate this music at 10 out of 10. Now I don't want to just play a bunch of the music and say, man, this was really good, because that's a lot of fluff. So instead of just been having the game soundtrack playing the entire background of this video, just as a testament to how much I love this thing. But I don't want to keep you here talking about it, so go listen to it yourself. And with all that done, I want to give my final thoughts. So as I'm sure everyone could tell, whether you've watched my old videos or if you just stumbled upon this one by chance, this is the first time I've ever reviewed a game. Now I did enjoy myself writing the script and working on the different bits and pieces that I needed to, though I think we can all agree this video was far from perfect, maybe even far from good, but hey, gotta start somewhere, and I did enjoy myself, so I don't really mind. While a lot of people say their first Persona game was life-changing, and formed who they are now, I don't really feel like I can say the same, but I need to emphasize that I still think this game is incredible. Also, I'm not the type to be swayed by media, so many people played this game and the impact that it had on them isn't to be understated by some slightly edgy Irish teenager who just doesn't understand what they mean. Despite saying this, it was definitely an eye-opening experience. One of my friends who played the game before me just completely dissected my type when I was telling them which characters were my favourites. I didn't even know I had a type until it was pointed out to me. Cammy, don't say it. Persona created my love for life-type games and JRPG turn-based combat. If I hadn't played this game, I probably never would have played Fire Emblem Three Houses, which has become one of my favourite games ever. I might make a video on it soon, we'll find out. And I just adore all the characters except Yuoya. So in general, I rate Persona 5 Royal a solid 9 out of 10. It may not be perfect, but when a game takes over my life for 3 months, it's definitely doing something, right? Whether you love a story and characters, you're bored of traditional turn-based combat, or you just want to make coffee with Sojiro, I highly recommend Persona 5 Royal to you. Well, that's the video. Like I did just mention, this was my first ever time making a video like this, and I had a lot of fun, so I hope it does well enough that I can continue making content like this. I also hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you did get to this part of it, thank you for watching all the way, and I really hope that you have a great rest of your day.